Welcome to WonderX. We are back with the part 4 of the top 10 things you missed in Loki. And in the episode 4, we've been served with another mind-blowing escalation of events. So while you were consuming this interesting continuation, you might have missed some things which were important. And that's why we are here. We've got you the top 10 things you missed in Loki episode 4. And before we go further, we issue a spoiler alert, since we get into deeper details, so we may reveal some super insights. So, without any delay, let's start the countdown with number 10. Sylvie's room number and escape method. Did you know Sylvie's room number and escape method are deep comic callbacks? In the comics, Loki has the wild escape plan to defy fate in What If issue 47. But here the number are not the only similarity between the book and the show. The comic version of Loki was only able to escape the magical prison and mess with the flow of time because he made Heimdall shed a tear. This moment perfectly mirrors Sylvie's plotline in the show after she makes Hunter B-15 emotional. Then the TVA agents show up later to help the Asgardian escape. Number 9. Ravona's Dark Parallel. Well, what was your reaction after watching Ravona, whom we thought as a fair judge, taking sinister turns in this episode? Did it take you by shock or were you expecting it? Well, let me intensify it. A lot of her wicked actions reflect a few of Thanos' worst vibes. While Ravonna deleted her favorite analyst, the Mad Titan Thanos executed his most beloved daughter. But the most disturbing parallel between the TVA judge and Thanos is that they both believe their actions are for the greater good. Intriguing, right? Well, as the Mad Titan taught us, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Be careful. Number 8. Mobius was saved by a green-themed character in the comics. I'd bet you have screamed at the screen while Mobius was eliminated by the TVA baton, because we did the same thing. Fortunately, we discovered that there is a strong chance that he actually transported to a dangerous land. Since he doesn't have normal weapons, probably he need help from Loki to survive. Well, you may not recall, but this is a great parallel to the time when Mobius judged the very green She-Hulk in the comics. When a villain breaks into the court, he nearly erases the judge with a TVA weapon. But She-Hulk steps in and saves the day. While Loki couldn't stop the Mobius from suffering at the hands of the TVA weapon, maybe the green-themed character could save the analyst's life. Number 7. Sif's haircut. Loki dipped into actual Norse mythology in this episode by locking the god of mischief in the time loop of one of the most notorious deeds, the time he cut Sif's hair. This bad haircut is a big part of Sif and Loki's history, stretching all the way back to 13th century. The story is being told a few many times in the comics. Loki made this MCU canon recruiting Jamie Alexander to play Sif once more and showing us the painful aftermath of Loki's prank. And just for your information, the knee to the groin was not in the original text, but that seems like it was needed. Number 6. The Timekeepers and Kang. After seeing them in animated form and as various statues scattered across the first 3 episodes, we finally met the Timekeepers in episode 4. And they're not so much space lizards as they are androids. They're the kind of space lizards you'd see in attraction at Disney World. You know, the Hall of Timekeepers. Anyway, because there's already plenty of speculation that Loki is going to introduce the villain who's potentially the MCU's next Thanos level threat, you could easily spot the similarities between the Timekeepers and the good old Kang. The helmet, the color scheme, the weird faces. Could Kang be the real deal behind the TVA? And could the Timekeeper puppets be modeled after Kang? And maybe Loki intentionally wants us to think that Kang is somewhere involved to distract us from what's really going on. So let's have a discussion about this in the comment section. Number 5. The one who created the Timekeepers. Upon discovering that the Timekeepers are advanced androids, Loki asks,
Then who created the TVA?
Well, maybe we can help you with that question. There's an answer to the question in the comics. All 3 Timekeepers were made by the former TVA director named He Who Remains. When the entire universe was about to end, He Who Remains helped create 3 beings to take care about what came next. But after the entities went rogue and were called the Time Twisters, he essentially erased them from the existence and started over by making Timekeepers. It's possible that he created them after the multiverse war was mentioned in the show. While we are unsure who went to make the androids, it's clear that someone's using the Timekeepers for their own twisted goals. Number 4. Kree, Titans and Vampires. While gripping about his situation, Mobius says that he's dealt with a lot of other powerful beings before he had zero problems. Those beings include Kree, Titans, and vampires. The first two are alien races we've already met in the MCU. Ronan the Accuser, the villain of the Guardians of the Galaxy, is a member of Kree, and the Captain Marvel herself is powered by Kree energy and served as a member of Kree Staff Force. And the most prominent Titan in MCU is Thanos. It's also worth mentioning that the Titans were an offshoot of the Eternals in the comics, and whether or not the MCU's Eternals will have a connection remains unknown. We'll likely learn about this connection when their movie comes out later this year. And then comes the third mention, vampires. That is no doubt a little hint at the eventual arrival of Blade in MCU. While the film doesn't have any release date yet, but the actors have signed up to play the vampiric vampire hunter. And there are rumors that Blade might come in the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But again, these are the faintest of the rumors at this point. So you have to wait to know whether they are true or not. And now we're heading straight to the top 3 spots. But before we get there, we just want you to go ahead and subscribe to Wonder X so that you don't miss the other parts of this series that we will be releasing very soon. Number 3. Ruthless Ravonna Renslayer. This episode was one that the fans of the late 90s Avengers comics have been eagerly waiting for. This episode gave us the Ravonna Renslayer from the comics, one who is totally ruthless master manipulator and all-around badass. Ravonna debuted in the Avengers issue number 23 from 1965 as the princess of 40th century Earth and the object of Kang's affection. She single-handedly drove the Avengers to an internal crisis that nearly ripped the team apart. She accomplished something that few villains did. Now we've seen what Ravonna is capable of, and honestly, don't you think the heroes of the MCU need to watch out? Well, they should. Number 2. 4 Lokis. In the credit sequence, we find out that pruning is a one-way ticket to complete oblivion. In fact, it's a one-way ticket to wherever the hell Loki wakes up. But he's very much alive and he's very much not alone. Standing before him are 4 Loki variants, 2 of which are big deals. Of these 4, 2 appear to be totally new, the Alligator and the Boastful Loki. It's possible that Boastful Loki may be some sort of amalgam between Thor and Loki, considering that he's carrying a hammer. We are fairly certain he's an original character. Why? Because the credits of every Loki episode contain a list of comic characters under special thanks, and these listed credits change episode to episode depending upon which characters appear. In the episode 4, the Nexus event adds 2 more names to this section, Matt Fraction and Pascal Ferry. Those 2 did not create the Boastful Loki. Those created the Kid Loki. Kid Loki became a major player in the Marvel Universe for a number of years, giving the character the chance to become a better version of himself, and he later joined the Young Avengers. And then comes the Loki's classic comic book look, where he has complete spandex costume, yellow trunks, an impractical cape, and big old horns. What does this mean for our Loki moving forward? Well, it means he can hold a speed dating contest for himself. But will he find the time to do that? What are your thoughts about it? I think you don't have any since you are thrilled and frozen at the sight of 4 Lokis. Number 1. The Grim Avengers callback. As Loki awakens in a strange land, you can hear a variation of Alan Silvester's I'll Take That Drink Now. This song was first played after Loki lost the Battle of New York in Avengers. But that wasn't the only reference to the 2012 film. If you look behind the 4 Lokis, you'll see what looks like ruins of Avengers Tower in the background. Yeah, it's depressing. Since this land seems to exist beyond time, is there a reality where the heroes lost the 2012 fight? If so, is there a victorious and very dangerous Loki lurking in this realm? Comment down your thoughts about this. And no matter what the stories behind the ruins, its presence is a bad moment for the God of Mischief and the Avengers who saw building crumble, and for us too. So let's wait and see what they have in store. So sit tight and wait till next Wednesday. And there will be continuation of this series about episode 5, so stay tuned for it. And if you want to know some more top 10s, go ahead and click on one of these 2 videos. And with that being said, we'll take your leave and we'll see you again at Wonder X with an amazing top 10.